This is WJOU 90.1 FM Huntsville, serving the Tennessee Valley, a broadcast service of Oakwood University, on the web at wjou.org.
Good afternoon and welcome to Second Chance. Second Chance is a weekly talk show that examines a wide range of social issues and seeks to inspire physical, emotional, social, and spiritual healing, believing that God is a God of second chances, and through faith, all things are possible. Second Chance airs live each week from the beautiful campus of Oakwood University and features real people with real issues and offers real answers. And now, here's your host, Kenneth Anderson.
Good afternoon and welcome to the Second Chance radio broadcast. I'm Kenny Anderson. As always, delighted to be here with you. It is Sunday afternoon, July the 19th. And for those that are joining us this afternoon, yes, we're halfway through the month of July, which means that it won't be long before it's back to school for a whole lot of people. And there's some really great back to school events that are taking place in this community. I'm going to share some information about that toward the end of the broadcast. So yeah, you got to kind of hang in there for the whole process. I know that you, of course, are joining us this afternoon from a lot of different locations. Perhaps you're listening on the radio this afternoon. And I want to thank you for being a part of that experience at 90.1 FM. Perhaps you're listening at wjou.org. We are grateful that you've chosen to join us today, which really means you could be listening to us anywhere around the world right now. And of course, there are those who are live streaming this afternoon on Praise 90.1 FM on Facebook as well as YouTube. Those that are listening on the radio or perhaps listening on the internet this afternoon can take a moment and hop on over there. You can actually see the broadcast as it originates from Huntsville, Alabama today. We, of course, always are delighted to have a great slate of speakers who come on and share information with us about a variety of topics, and we're always made smarter by the fact that they come and spend this time with us. It is, of course, since it is the 19th of July, I usually like to acknowledge the fact that my dad celebrated a birthday. Of course, he's passed now, but July 16th was his birthday. And it would have been his 103rd birthday had he been living now. But everything you see in me and everything that you say about me is a true reflection of Jack Anderson. And I carry his spirit with me everywhere I go. So this show today is being done in honor of his legacy and his life. And that is my dad, Jack Anderson, who had a birthday this past week on July the 16th. My first guest this afternoon is in the seat and ready to roll, and I'm excited that she's here, and I'm ready to talk to her this afternoon. Let me tell you who she is first. Of course, she should have been listening to this broadcast before. You have known who she was, but perhaps you're joining us for the first time today, and we'll excuse that. So we'll give you a little information about who my amazing first guest is today. Deon Stokes is a self-described multi-hyphenate entrepreneur with nearly 2 decades of shaking things up in marketing, strategic planning, and business development. From leading high-impact political campaigns to CEO of Joint Effort Consulting, she's known for turning complex challenges into brilliant opportunities. Today, Deon inspires thousands through her engaging projects. She's the creative force behind the podcast, The Failure Report, the dynamic co-host of Leading in Color, or co-host of Leading in Color, and the visionary tech founder of Pivot, spelled PVT, a Google-powered professional wellness marketplace. It's amazing she has the time to spend with us today because she's doing so many creative and innovative things, but I'm always grateful when she takes time to join us on this platform. Deon, how are you doing this afternoon?
I am fantastic, Kenny. Thank you so much for having me today. I appreciate it, as always. I just sending you all my love.
Oh, thank you. I receive it and I send it back to you. You're an amazing person who I think is just doing some great things. course, I follow you on social media, and you've always got something inspiring going on. And I just think this is a great space to share that energy and passion and that innovative eye that you have for so many different things. Let's start, of course, where I think is a great place to start. And maybe we can talk a little bit about what's new in your world right now. And then I want to kind of build into that some things that you already have laid the foundation for and get people up to speed on that.
Yeah, that's a great question. I'm always cooking up something new. And it's so interesting because my newest venture is another tech business. And I am not a techie. I do not brand myself as a tech founder. However, God just keeps implanting these ideas in my mind to make problems, like complex problems, easier. Like I have the problem, I know somebody else does, and what can I do to solve it? It's essentially where every good business starts from, right? And so right now I am in the process of building out what I'm now calling Ambition GPT. And I have never thought that I would be in such a large tech space competing with other AI bots, but here I am. I'm in the race of like, this is where our world has gone. This is where we have, everyone is like, AI is going to take my job. And I have essentially said, you know what? You're right. Let me get ahead of it. Here you go. I have been a business consultant and like, as my bio said, in the marketing space for over 2 decades at this point. And what I have just noticed is my clients were leaning on AI more and more, and we're comparing everything that I was able to offer them to what any other chatbot was able to tell them. You take your pick, Claude, ChatGPT, Gemini. Now you have other individuals that are in this space. And so I said, what can I do to be able to help them using my voice, my experience, my intellect, and then be able to still give them that so they feel as if they're talking to me, but they don't have to have me at their side, at their beck and call 24 hours a day, like what I have created inside of Ambition GPT. So what's new, Kenny? Loaded question. I have been way over my head and enjoying every minute of it.
Wow. Well, let me ask you this, because that's a great, I think, summation of the journey thus far. And, your journey is always evolving, like you said, and you're embracing new things and new ideas and moving forward. I want to ask you first about the tech element of what you just said, because that space can be very intimidating for some people. And a lot of people just kind of leave it alone because it's like over their head for whatever reason and however they choose to characterize that. How do you find yourself leaning into that? And what's the motivation and what's the lesson perhaps for others that might be listening this afternoon who may feel that intimidation?
Yeah, I've had the blessing of working with a lot of tech founders. And so for me, watching other individuals have the same initial experience as I've had, then to be able to thrive in that space has lessened my intimidation. So I've got lucky, essentially is that I've seen it so many times before. I've seen individuals be like, I don't know how to do this. I worked with a gentleman for many years who created Toast, which is the POS system where you take the orders at the table, or now whenever you go to any restaurant, they take the orders. He had no clue he just worked in a restaurant and was like, there's got to be a better way to be able to take an order as opposed to on that little piece of paper and taking it to the back of the restaurant and then running back and forth. And I lost my receipt and I forgot your order, sir. Can you please repeat it? He took that knowledge at almost 50 plus years old and created now what is the POS system that we use in restaurants every day. Watching individuals do it helped me to say, if they did, I can. And I feel as if that is why your show is so important, why individuals not being embarrassed and afraid to say what they've done, even if it fails, because you don't know what you have planted, that seed, that little seed that you've planted in somebody else to say, well, shucks, if they figured it out, maybe I can sit on the edge of my couch on a rainy Tuesday and figure out how I could make a process that I see really difficult a little bit easier.
Yeah, I love all of that. And there's so much to learn from the things that you've already shared. I'm excited about the rest of this conversation, of course, future conversations. And so let's step back for one moment, because you talked about feeling at times like, you're doing lots of things and maybe a little bit over your head. There's somebody listening this afternoon saying, you know what, that's me, Deon. I'm over my head. and I don't quite know how to navigate that. And what would you say to someone listening this afternoon about your own personal experience of feeling like you're over your head? Because I think the first element of that is just being honest about it and being transparent about it, because that's where you really, I think, begin to align efforts where people may come alongside you or things may reveal themselves because you say, I just don't know, or I need help. How have you done that?
Yes, that's a great question. And it kind of brings me back to the inception of creating an Ambition GPT. I was sitting on the edge of my couch on a rainy Tuesday and was like, I'm failing all of my clients. I literally felt like every single client that I saw today left with an action plan, but it had so many variables to it. The fact that me as a coach and consultant wasn't going to see them again for a week or 2 weeks or sometimes once a month, depending on what our arrangement was, made me feel like they're not going to do anything until they see me next time. They got it, but they don't really have it. You know what I mean? And that feeling left me just wanting to reach back out, give more than I had capacity to, not just needed to. I didn't have the capacity to contact them every day and say, how's that going? You said you were going to do this. Did you follow through? Did you feel supported? Did you have the answer? And I was using ChatGPT. This was last year. You know, it of course has been around for a very long time. Well, not very, but it's been around for a while, but unbeknownst to most individuals. And so I'm using it in its most rudimentary form. And I'm saying, I have this answer that I could give them, but I don't know how to tell them this every day. Like, this is where you are, do this next, do this after that, do this the following day. And for anybody that is in over their head, what they need is a system. They're blaming themselves because they think they're lazy. They're blaming themselves because they're easily distracted, which I feel as if distraction is just an act of the devil. The moment we pick up this phone and start doing something random on TikTok and Facebook, the devil's so happy, right? Because he's gotten you distracted. But you feel like, I'm easily distracted. I'm not organized enough. I'm not disciplined enough. That idea is what holds individuals back from, and what makes them feel like they're in over their head. But if they had a system that told them exactly what to do every single day, it would almost feel like a guarantee to be able to reach their goals. It would take the guesswork out. Kenny, you're a genius. You have started and helped so many individuals to start their jobs, to pivot, to do more than they had the day before. But what do they do the next day? You don't know. You have no clue. I created Ambition GPT to tell you what to do that following day. You tell it exactly what your goals are. This is what I want to be able to accomplish. I want to start a nonprofit. I really feel as if nonprofit work is where I'm being called to. I want to do it. Fantastic. Your heart is swollen. You know you want to give. You know you want to provide for children. Great. What do you do tomorrow? You have no idea. I've taken everything that I've ever known, learned the hard way, learned the easy way, have had mentors that have poured into me, and I trained a custom GPT to be able to tell you exactly that on a 90-day process. This is what you need to do. This is how you break it down, not to overwhelm you, because everybody that has that idea of starting anything feels instantly like, great idea. They have that motivation. Motivation does not last. It instantly turns into overwhelm, and everybody starts motivated, right? I want abs. I'm going to the gym. I'm motivated. But guess what happens day 3? Unmotivation. I don't want to do this. It hurts. I'm sore. But what if somebody was there to tell you exactly what to do on those sore days? You do it. You'd be more willing to show up. You'd feel like somebody was holding your hand through the process. And when you're standing in the shower where all good ideas come and you decide, I'm going to have a food bank in that nonprofit for those kids, you can get out the shower and ask Dia, which is the AI coach inside of Ambition GPT, how to pivot that initial idea that you had. And she's going to continue to carry you through that journey, because we're going to continue to develop. I mean, our minds are never rested. You know what I mean? Even when we're talking to somebody, we're sitting there listening and we're like, oh, that's a good idea. I should do it. But you don't get to talk to your coach until the next month. Now you have a virtual coach to be able to help you to never feel that overwhelm that holds so many individuals back from starting or scaling their business.
This is really, I think, remarkable in so many ways. I mean, you're calling me the genius, but you're the genius.
Oh, well, thank you. I've seen you at work, sir. Hey, come on now. Take it.
I'm grateful. But, I think it's amazing. And I think you're really helping somebody this afternoon, too, that's listening, who may have that thing kind of bouncing around in their head and they haven't drawn it out, or they haven't trusted themselves or trusted the process enough in order to believe that they can do it, because it looks overwhelming. It looks like, some people look at that big, hairy, audacious goal and they run towards it. Some people run from it, like it's a two-headed monster. And so you're leaning into these things in a way that I think helps people really understand the opportunities that exist and the joy that comes from doing that. You have talked about being a coach now for over 2 decades, and I know that the coaching landscape has changed over the years. Other than the technology element of coaching, what kinds of changes have you seen, and also how have you changed as a coach?
Yes, that's a great question. We need more. What we used to have, we've been able to exceed that. I'm no longer wanting to sit in front of a screen and do 3 hours of a course, on a pre-recorded, video. That was really good during COVID. Like, we all got away with it. It was great. You know what I mean? Like, I'm going to buy this course and I'm going to learn how to use this thing, and lickety split, here we go. We're in an information age that is turning and churning so quickly that it feels impossible as a coach to keep up. What is next? I have a book that I'm a library person. I go to the library and get a book. I can now take my phone, sit it on top of it. It reads it to me. I'm no longer in the moment of just sitting and actually turning the pages and all of them, even in a book. So as a coach, it felt impossible to be able to keep up with what was next, what was last, what is trending. And for those reasons, I wanted to figure out how to be the very best coach for the individuals that I served. I have never been the person that was willing to give the good enough. I was always wanting to be able to exceed every single client's expectation. And that day, sitting on the couch, I felt mediocre. It was just a basic old day. You know what I mean? Like, I gave you everything I had, but we've been on the phone for an hour now. That's all I have time for. Capacity I just didn't have the space. That is where we are today. We're no longer in the space of being able to just talk you through it. We need to see, I need to have the next. I need to have the tangible. I need to have the action plan. I need a little bit more support because there is so many things that are coming at me. And also gone are the days that I just run a business. I'm also doing the TikTok dance. I'm on social media. I've got to be able to promote it. I'm not just sitting behind a desk shuffling papers as the CEO of this business anymore. The amount of individuals that I had that were dentists that were also on Facebook doing ads and now are responsible for to be the face of their business and their marketing was something that they, who only studied dentistry, needed help with. And how can you provide that in an hour session? You couldn't. And no amount of money would be able to help them in that way. That is where we are. And that is why I feel as if we're in the wild, wild west, but I love it out here, man. I love it.
I could tell, and we can see it radiating from you right now, the joy that you feel in this particular space. And I do have another question, but that actually makes me think about another question. So much of what you do, and of course that I do, and others that are in the same space, we pride ourselves on bringing something special to that space that we think will somehow energize a person or help them clarify something or to help drive them towards something. And what do you think it is about your own experiences, albeit they're probably different from one person to the next, that you walk away from feeling, this is a real sense of accomplishment. This is what I've seen happen as a result of me showing up authentically and as good as I can be in a space that can actually benefit somebody else. What's your takeaway when that happens?
Yeah, my biggest takeaway and the thing that I absolutely love is the moment that you make your first dollar. When I'm able to help you to move your financial situation from one space to another, be it $1 or 6 figures, that is my motivator. I grew up in an era where we didn't talk about money. Money was something that we were like, you never let your left hand know what your right hand's doing. You don't let anybody in your bank account. You don't. And we've grown up with a lot of shame around the have and the have not. You know what I mean? And right now I'm in a space, and I won't even say right now as if it was immediate. For maybe the past 10 years, I love to watch people make money. I love to measure how much change you have been able to make, because we've been able to go from what you thought you had to what you actually can have. And that drives me. So when people meet me and when we have our first session together, I want to know how much money you want to make. And I want you to dream, because we don't dream about it because we have limited ourselves for lots of reasons. My past failures, my expectations, I don't have much time to put into this. But if you were to give me that good, juicy, hairy, audacious number, what would it be? That is what I like individuals to walk away leaving with, is that I don't know much about her, but we sure talked a lot about my money, and I believe I can do it. I want you to believe with your whole heart you can make whatever that amount is. Let's reverse engineer it. Let's work backwards to that number. What is it going to take you to do every day to be able to reach that number? What does success mean to you? What does it feel like? Not what does it look like in your bank account? The opposite of that. What does success feel like? It feels like pride. It feels like optimism. It feels like confidence and discipline. That's what success is. So let's show up as a successful person every day. Let's be disciplined. I need you up at 5:30. I need you to have worship every day before you do absolutely anything. I need you to feel your body, move your body, eat like you're supposed to, operate like a CEO. You'll make money. The money will come if you get that system. If you get that system and you have your eye on a tangible prize. And everybody knows the money is a motivator, honey. You want to motivate somebody to run to the finish line? Dangle a check at the end of it. We got to run this 5K.
Oh, wow. Well, I love it. I love to, if I might, just take some things that you said to really drill down a little bit more for people that are listening this afternoon. One of the things I think, one of the most important things Deon said was you have to have a system. This thing doesn't happen in a vacuum. You don't just wake up one morning and everything you desire happens. It happens because you have a strategy, that you have intention, and that you have deliberation in what you do. And so having that system is so important. And then having that specific goal, what's that target that you're trying to reach? Not the one that you believe you can reach, but the one that you absolutely can reach. If you were to maybe neutralize some of the concerns or the roadblocks or barriers in your life. And what is that thing that you want to stretch towards reaching? So those are two great things to focus on. And I want to go ahead and ask the final thing. As I see, our time is always running down when we talk, Deon. It's always so, fluid, and
Never know.
The time is gone.
Yeah.
So when you think about just the whole concept of someone approaching excellence as the goal, and I think at the end of the day, that's what we're talking about. We want the person to have maximize their potential and have optimization on their performance. That you think about just the general concept of excellence, and even though it will be different for different people, I'm sure there's some fundamentals that go into that process as well. And I thought maybe you could give me 2 to 3 fundamentals that people absolutely have to have in order to be able to even be motivated to develop a system, or have the mindset to do that, or have the ability to be able to approach a goal. 2 or 3 just fundamentals, core things that have to be in place.
Yeah. So this is a great question, and I'm going to try my best to not be long-winded. But number one, I've read amazing books on the mindset of CEOs. And every single book could honestly be summarized into a pamphlet, because they all do the same. From your billionaire, trillionaire CEOs, all the way down to your just really good, run a really good company CEO. They're very mindful about their health. When we say your health is your wealth, we toss it around kind of willy-nilly, but it is so true, and it is so paramount to being successful. You have got to monitor what you put inside of your temple. God is going to dwell there. That is what we're asking the Holy Spirit to do. But when we neglect it, when we don't get enough sleep, when we're not drinking enough water, she does not work very well. She can't produce. She can't think. She can't process. She's sluggish. She's slow. She's irritable. You've got to take care of your temple. Number one. Number two is that you need to identify your saboteurs. Oh, your saboteurs. How do you sabotage yourself? Every single CEO I've ever worked with has I can identify their sabotage. This is what they do. They're very resistant to change. They don't like to be honest about what they were able to accomplish or not accomplish. They are very shy in front of individuals, and they perceive themselves as shy, so they don't show up in networking situations and be their true and authentic self. They don't know who their true and authentic self is. And so they don't know how to best present themselves because they've never really truly gotten to know who they are in this space. Once you identify how you sabotage yourself, you will be very aware of who she is. When she starts rearing her head and starts to try to tell you, you can't, this is hard, you're tight, you can know how to dead that voice. That is number two. And the third is what you stated, you have got to have a system. Is Ambition GPT the absolute best system on the market to be able to help you reach your goals? Absolutely. There's no other system that's out there. I own all of the software that's available. Claude cannot tell you what to do today, tomorrow, and the next day. She can't hold time. She doesn't know she doesn't know. She doesn't know. If you've ever used ChatGPT and you're like, and it says you're talking in the same thread, you know what I mean? You'd be like, well, yesterday we talked about this. And you're like, that was just an hour ago. Like, what are you talking about? I have trained Ambition GPT to hold time because specifically for women, there are certain times of your month that you shouldn't even attempt to do things. The way that I'm showing up here today is because I'm in a certain cycle of my life that I can present, I can talk, I have clarity. If you caught me last week, I'd be like, I mean, there'd be a pimple here. I'd be sluggish. I'd be almost hot. You know, I'm a woman of a certain age. You know, I'd be like, I don't know. Know whenever your good moments are. Know whenever that's the best time for you to present, to do hard tasks, to do really quiet tasks, to do deep thinking. I have trained Ambition GPT to be able to do all of those things for you. So it exceeds a system. Everyone thinks that writing it down is a good system. And for some reason that has worked for us for years. And then you can see where it's failed for you. You've got to identify the system that is going to work to help you to reach that goal. You have no idea what to do next. Lean on a system to tell you what to do. Be that a mentor, be that Ambition GPT, be that a book, be that something that is going to help you to be able to organize your thoughts and execute. Because without faith without works is completely dead. I have faith I'm supposed to do this. I know God told me to do it, and you don't know what to do. You're not prepared for this success. I will never forget, a pastor told me that is the equation to success. Preparation plus opportunity equals success. If you have the opportunity, but you're not prepared, you will not be successful. If you're prepared, but there's no opportunity, you've got to have the formula in line, and that only comes with having a successful system.
Deon Stokes, you've said it all, and there's still so much to say.
I tried to wrap it all up. You asked that was a loaded question. You should have started there.
Well, we'll pick up from this point the next time we come together because, as I said, you're a wealth of knowledge and information and inspiration, and we love having you in this space to be able to fire up the crowd and let them know exactly there's hope and opportunity available to whoever will. Yes. Deon Stokes, tell us how people can connect with you on social media or webpage or anything else that you might have out there.
Absolutely. You can find me absolutely everywhere on the internet at The Face of Ambition. If you watch me on YouTube, you know I do this hand motion every single time because, and of course, it's my years of marketing. You make people remember. You can find me at The Face of Ambition on YouTube, on TikTok, on Instagram, on Facebook, on Pinterest, on Spotify, everywhere that you would ever need to be motivated, inspired, encouraged. I produce content every day on most social platforms and every Sunday and Wednesday on YouTube and Spotify.
Listen, there's no question that you know a little bit about branding and marketing. There's no question about it.
Just a little bit. Thanks to my good Oakwood University. It was Oakwood College then. Thanks to my good Oakwood College education, I absolutely do. I use it every single day.
That is awesome. Deon Stokes has joined me this afternoon. She's CEO of Joint Effort Consulting and the curator of the Ambition Brand, Ambition Project, and all the other things that we listed. I mean, there's a whole list of stuff, Deon, and we're just so glad that you have it all going on like that. We look forward to our next conversation with you. Please enjoy the rest of your day. Great way to start the broadcast this afternoon. Deon Stokes joining me for a great conversation about the work that she's doing. And of course, we're always thrilled to have her as part of the conversation because she always inspires and drops all those wisdom nuggets and just she has us on fire as a consequence of that, because we just want to do more when she comes on, because we know that there are things being left undone and we don't want to leave anything on the table. My next guest is joining me at this time, and I'm glad that he's taken time out of his very busy schedule to be a part of the conversation. Let me introduce him right now. He's Dr. Edwan O'Neill. He's owner and executive director of the Diversity Leadership Colloquium. Let me tell you a little bit about him. He currently serves as the program manager for PCIP for the Space Missile Defense Command Internship Program. Prior to this assignment, he served in a variety of other capacities. He's a proficient, innovative administrator with diversified experience in higher education, technical assistance training, and government contracts. He served in various capacities in both the public and private sector, as well as lots and lots of community service, extensive knowledge specific in the areas of student life, and so much more. And we're so glad to have him here today because there's a lot going on with the Tennessee Valley Leadership Colloquium and a Diversity Leadership Colloquium. And we're going to learn all about what that is and how you can be a part of it on this afternoon. Dr. O'Neill, how are you doing this afternoon, my friend? I think you're still on mute.
It said it's unmuted. Can you hear me now?
I sure can.
Yeah. Doing great. How are you? Thank you for having me.
Hey, look, man, I'm always happy to have you because every time you leave, we're always smarter because of it, because we learn so much about what's going on the ground in our community, and we learn how people can get plugged in and connected and how people can serve. And so I'm just so glad that you're here today. And we've got about 25 solid minutes to unpack this thing. So let's jump into it. And then we're going to end with, I'm going to call it the icing on the cake. And that's a call to action for people who want to be a part of the next cohort. But let's tell them what we're asking them to consider being a cohort of. Tell me a little bit about the Tennessee Valley Diversity Leadership Colloquium.
Well, this is year 12, founded in 2015 by the illustrious Dr. Dorothy Houston. And actually, today is her birthday. So shout out to Dr. Houston celebrating her birthday today. But she's our founder, who founded DLC back in 2015 to give people, just general people in our community, an opportunity to go through a leadership program. Certain people who were unable to maybe not get into the bigger programs like your Leadership Huntsville and things of that nature. This was a smaller platform where you can get plugged into the community, where you can serve on different boards and things of that nature. And so we're right now going to our 12th year. We've graduated 20 cohorts. We have over 300 alumni in our community who are pillars all over in the Huntsville, Madison County area. And right now we're getting ready. Today, our alumni is at Manor House serving. One of our community service projects is going on right now today. And so we're just continuing to grow. We continue to try to be an inspiration within our community and continue to develop leaders. Our motto that we changed after our 10th anniversary is impacting the community and developing future leaders. And so we're trying to continue to do that, Kenny, and we're just blessed to be here.
Well, it sounds like a lot of what happens in this space is centered around learning and service and education, so much more. Talk to us a little bit about what draws you to this specific space.
Well, my education background, my doctorate is in higher education, and I served in that space for about 15 years, and then I kind of got into government contract. But when I went through the program myself, it really opened my eyes to so many different things that was going on in our community. And so once I finished the program, I really wanted to get out and actually serve in different capacities. And so what Dorothy built was just a solid foundation for young professionals or seasoned professionals who just kind of go to work and go home. Now you have a platform where you can get plugged into the community and use some of your other talents outside of your job to really kind of get involved in the community and serve in different capacities. And so we want to continue to build upon that. And so we have 7 educational sessions that's part of our program. Then we have 2 research sessions. We have a book now. Our new leadership book is called Let Them Theory, which is a New York Times bestseller. And then we have a community research initiative where our participants have to go out into the community and learn different research and different leadership perspectives from education, from small business, from community and civic engagement, and have to come back and report those things. And so it's a plethora of sessions, and we bring in subject matter experts that really share and delve in and to these participants to really kind of get them involved and share some of their expertise with them, where they can have some networking and some other opportunities outside of their professional careers where they can get involved.
Yeah, so let's drill down a little more because, like I said, we have some time to really unpack this thing the way we need to. Let's drill down a little more into what the process is. So we're going to talk specifically about the new cohort that you're recruiting for, but yes, what if those that will get to that point, they'll hear that and they'll get excited and they'll write down the number and the website and all that other good stuff. Yeah. What does that process look like once that happens? Once they either apply or look into it, what happens next?
Yeah, so once you apply, you receive your letter, congratulations, and then the first day is an orientation. And so at orientation, normally we try to have our founder there. So we have our founding members there. We bring in alumni that comes and kind of share their experiences. And at orientation, you really kind of learn what DLC is about, and we kind of bring you into the family. And we try to really break down what the 12 weeks will be. We kind of tell you the history of DLC. We let Dorothy kind of share her fundamental purpose of when she founded the organization, and that really gets you excited when you kind of get into her brain and when she thought about this back in 2014 when the word diversity wasn't even a thing then. You start thinking about how Dorothy was like, hey, I want to just give an opportunity for regular people to have a platform to come and learn and grow. And so we bring in some alumni. They meet our executive alumni committee who serve on the board. They get to meet them. They get to talk about what the alumni does. We talk about our social events that we have throughout the year. We start talking about the community service events that we have throughout the year. We delve into the community research initiative, and that initiative is when they really have to go out and meet other people. And what I found, Kenny, this last cohort, we had several of our individuals who said, Dr. O'Neill, DLC really brought me out. We had a lot of introverts. They were great at their job, but they really went to their job and they did their job and they went home. And so being at DLC really challenged you to get out of your comfort zone. And I challenge you a lot of times to step up. Sometimes you have to speak up. Sometimes you have to challenge our subject matter experts. And I tell them, they're subject matter expert. They don't mean they're the expert of everything. Let's challenge them. Let's challenge the status quo, for instance, And so probably we graduated 14 in the last cohort, and probably 8 of them, and HPD, they have been a great support of DLC. They send an officer every cohort, Kenny, and Sergeant Leah Henry. She's from the Midwest. Her and her husband are both officers, and she talked about their life in their marriage is really kind of about work. They both go to work. They're both officers here in our community. And even at home, they're talking about work, and everything is about work and being an officer and those kind of things. And she said, being within DLC, she really got to have a life outside of that job and start looking at things differently from a leader perspective, from a normal citizen of our community. Now she can look at the world differently. And then she built a real bond with her cohort members. And she said she really got to see the lives of other people and their perspectives and their professions. And so those are the kind of the experiences that people are receiving through DLC. And so it's been just a great journey for the last 4 years since I've been the executive director, and just being able to change lives and giving people opportunities that sometimes they haven't had the opportunity to take advantage of. And sometimes they don't know the skill sets, or they don't know what the challenges are for them, but having somebody just to give them that extra nudge to go head forward, to take that challenge, to start that job, to get into real estate. We had another person who met their real estate agent. They finally bought a home. They had been renting for years. They met the real estate agent in the cohort. They partnered together. One person started a business because they met with one of our main sessions, Chris Kern. He's on our board. Chris Kern is the senior vice president at Pinnacle. And Chris talked to them about during our financial session, and he talked to them about getting those business loans. That young man finally started his business, Kenny. I mean, that's what it's all about. Those are those success stories that when you come through a program like this, that opportunities actually come through and they benefit from the network and being in those sessions and actually learning how to do some of the things that you dream of. And that's what it should be about. So
that's awesome. I mean, even the 2 or 3 examples that you've given thus far should be quite inspiring as we tease people a little bit and let them know that there's a big opportunity that's present right now to be a part of the next cohort. It's coming up. We're going to tell you exactly how you can be a part of that. You should be positioning yourself right now to get that information, because it's going to be everything you imagine it might be and more. We promise you that. Let me ask you this. Is it once a week? Is it in the evening? How does that process work, and where does it take place?
Yes, so we are very diverse in our actual cohort. It's 12 weeks. You have an orientation, you have 7 educational sessions, you have a community service session. We partner with Team Serve. Kenny, has been phenomenal. Joe McKenzie is the executive director for Team Serve, and they feed 1,200 people off in Calvary Hills community. And so this year was our first year going over there. We've been partnered with them in another organization that I'm leading. And so this year, DLC went for the first time, enjoyed it. I had a young lady who met a student that she taught several years ago in that community. She reconnected with them by going out and feeding the people within the Northwood Projects area. And so we're partnering with Joe, and that's going to be our community service effort now. We do one community service. And so each Tuesday, we meet on Tuesdays from 6 p.m. to 8:30 p.m. And each Tuesday, you have a different location. So you get to go to different locations throughout the community. And several of these places you probably didn't know exist. Several of these places you have never been inside of. And so we go to different banks, we go to different business offices, we use some of the colleges, lecture halls, and things of that nature. So you will go to another location each week throughout the city. We have wonderful meals that are sponsored by another alumni or our corporate sponsor. So we do feed you a great meal. So we've taken up your dinner time. So we're going to make sure you eat well. And so we have a little competition now, which alumni provide the best food, Kenny. So they in competition who provide the best meal for our alumni. So we really appreciate our corporate sponsors who do that. And so you each Tuesday is 12 weeks. You have off for fall break. So we wanted you to spend time with family during fall break. And then you come back with your community research initiative when you go out to meet different leaders and come back and provide that information. And then you have your book research on the Let Them theory, which we group you up. And so our typical number, we're small, Kenny. We don't want to get any larger than about 20. Okay. Our sweet spot is about 16, and we have you in groups of 4, and we diversify the groups. by profession, by age, by gender. So we really diversify the groups. And so each group, we have one group that will be your community research group where you have to go out into the community, do your research. And then we'll group you into another group where will be your book group where you guys have to break down our Let Them Theory book. So you get to work in two different groups. So you'll be able to work with almost all of the cohort members in two different segments. And so really break that down where it's diversified. So in one area, you're doing community research where y'all had to go out together. And in one area, y'all do the book research where y'all kind of talk about the book and break it down and have to present on that. So both groups have to present back to the cohort, to the whole cohort. And so it really gives them an opportunity to lead, to use their skills and those type of things. And they have to decide on who's going to do what. And so we leave that totally up to them. We just give them a mission. We'll allow them to figure it out and go execute it. And so the last and final week is graduation that we usually host at the very phenomenal Alabama School of Cyber Technology and Engineering. They have hosted us for the last 3 years. Mr. Christopher Blandon is a phenomenal friend of mine. Mr. Matt Massey, I know Mr. Massey for a long time, former superintendent Madison County. So we host our graduations there. And last year we had your mentee and protege, Dr. Randy Barber was our keynote speaker for graduation, and he did a phenomenal job, and our graduates was very, very pleased to have him as our keynote for. And so Randy is going to partner with us, and we're going to meet and do some other research about DLC and how we continue to enhance it. And so Dr. Barber and I will be meeting pretty soon, and he's very excited about what DLC is doing, and we're going to be partnering together about what you guys are doing, what he is doing as well at the city of Huntsville. So everything is going great. We're excited about our upcoming cohort. We just graduated cohort 20. They were very, very, like I said, this was a cohort that was very introverted, that really got out of their shell, and they've hit the ground running. They're ready to do some things now. And so we're excited for our upcoming cohort for the fall. And the fall cohort usually are kind of more motivated. It's after the summer, so they really kind of get going.
Yeah, it's real interesting how these cohorts and these groups have personalities,
Yes,
and
sir.
you have one that just blows you away. Everybody's
Yes,
on
sir.
fire for one reason or another. One's a little bit more laid back and reserved, maybe, or even within groups, sometimes you have highs and lows. So it's always fascinating, I think, to see that emerge from the experience that you provide for them. So that's absolutely awesome. I'm talking this afternoon with Dr. Edwan O'Neill. He is the owner and the executive director of Diversity Leadership Colloquium here in the Tennessee Valley. It is an amazing initiative. And if you've not heard about it, folks, that's why we're talking about it today. We want you to be a part of it this coming fall. And he said something, though, that I got to go back to because we kind of talked about it so fast. I don't want people to miss this because it happens to be one of my favorite words, the impact of collaboration. Yeah. The idea that a program like this cannot be successful riding on the back of one person, and that there has to be opportunities for people who are listening this afternoon to come alongside you in various ways. I know that you're already generating that kind of activity with others, even talking about the catering and the speakers and other kinds of things like that. But this program is an opportunity for powerful collaboration to make a transformative difference in the lives of the people that are part of it. Isn't that right?
Absolutely. It's all about collaboration. And I think throughout our community, there's so many opportunities for us, and we're doing some of the same things, and then we just collaborate together. I mean, how grand it could be. Like if we're doing wonderful things over here at DLC, we want to partner with Team Serve, like now with community service. Like, I mean, I'm just so into collaboration. Whatever DLC can do to collaborate with other organizations, we want to do that to give our participants new initiatives, new opportunities. And so we're excited to partner with anyone who wants to join us. And then we want to give back. And like I tell all of my sponsors, like, hey, we don't just want you to be a sponsor. We want to actually come and serve, and we want to give back to you as well. Like if we can do some community service with your organization, let us know, because we're always looking to do community service throughout the year. So we want to do those type of things. But our alumni is constantly doing things throughout the year as well. And so we have over 300. And so it's kind of hard to get all of them together at the same time, but we provide opportunities throughout the year. So just come when you're available. Everybody is busy. But we'll continue to move and push the needle forward and continue to try to encourage ones who wants to come and be a part. We're ramping up for this new cohort. We're looking for about 16 to 20 new professionals who want to be a part of the illustrious alumni of DLC, and we're a family. Once you go through DLC, you love it, Kenny, and we want to just change your thought process, change your life, where personally and professionally you can grow in different areas and different aspects, and we have a lot of network, and so DLC is a networking platform as well, and so not only developing leaders, but hopefully provide some opportunities for some of our participants to grow professionally and personally.
Yeah, this is great. Is there an age restriction?
No, there's a minimum age restriction. We want you at least to be of 21 years of age if you've graduated. So whether you graduate from college or not, we want you at least be 21 years of age, and then you can apply. Once you apply, we'll review your application, but we're fairly open. So from 21 to 99, you come on. There's something for you to learn. If you're not learning, you're dying.
Right.
We want you to complete.
That's right.
There's something to learn each and every day. And so that's why when I was talking about our groups, we really diversify our groups because we want some of our seasoned people to encourage our young people. And then our young people can teach some of our seasoned people, especially with the technology and those type of things. So when they do the presentations, you can tell who has helped who when they're doing the presentations and stuff. Like, okay, I can see that part. Because some of your seasoned people don't know all that technology. And then the young people got it on their phones and everything. So it really kind of works together. But that's what a community is about. And so we want to kind of bring those skill sets together, and whatever your expertise is, whatever your profession is, bring those talents, bring those skills. We want you to share that information. And so we just learn so much about each other. We want to be a safe space, Kenny. And in orientation, we have an activity. I'm not going to get too personal here, but we have an activity where we do share some information of each other, where you have to open up a little bit. You have to be a little bit vulnerable. And we tell them that DLC is your safe space. And what we share at DLC is kind of our family, so you can open up, you can be vulnerable here, you can cry here, you can, I got two shoulders for you to cry on, and so we want people to be able to come, and sometimes you just want to open up about what's going on. Sometimes you may just need a mentor, and so we have alumni who have served as mentors and whatever. And so those session leaders that come, we have our alumni that come back that serve as session leaders. Oftentimes they become mentors, or they just become someone that you can call. You may need advice about banking. You may need advice about real estate, whatever that is. We have alumni that can help you with that. And so we're a big family. And so we'll continue to make a difference in our community. I'm just happy to continue the mission of this organization that Dr. Dorothy Houston founded, and I have to mention Miss Georgia Valere as well. Without those two ladies, we would not have DLC. And so I'm just honored to kind of continue to push the needle forward. And I thank God for the opportunity every day, Kenny. And so we're blessed, and we're looking for our next group of leaders who want to be a part of this organization. And we're just some humble professionals who want to give back and serve.
Yeah, that's terrific. And it's always good to give honor to those visionaries who led out at the very beginning and were able to take what they were given
Absolutely.
by God to be able to imbue in others an opportunity and a desire and a passion to be better and to be connected in our community and just to serve others, because that's the highest calling in life, is to serve others. And so this is just a powerful way to do that. We have so many people moving into this community right now that are looking for ways to get plugged in. They're looking for kind of like a cheat sheet for how do I get plugged in quickly, and how do I figure out what's going on the landscape quickly. This is a great way to do that. And we have people on the other end, people who've been here a long time, who now are beginning to feel a bit of a fire or a desire to be involved We want all of those people to think about that. So we've teased them enough now. I mean, they're excited. I even want to join. I even want to sign up. I'm so excited because we've done it to them now. They're ready. They're primed. Let's get the pump in here and let's go ahead and tell them what do they need to know in order to apply for this upcoming cohort.
Awesome. So our website, you can go to the website at TN Valley, Tennessee Valley, DLC.com. and see everything is there. You can go through and look at the program. You look at the curriculum, our leadership staff. You can actually see the YouTube video from our 10th anniversary gala we just had last year. Kenny was there. We had a phenomenal time. You missed it if you did not attend that. So that clip is on there. But the application is right there on the website. You can apply right there online. The cohort will begin on August 18th. Which is a Tuesday, and graduation will be on November 7th. We're going to graduate on Thursday because November 5th is voting. That's our voting this year. So graduation will not be on a Tuesday. It'll be on Thursday for the fall, but that's your 12 weeks. You'll have fall break off. And we have actually, we just went through the schedule. We have changed some of the sessions. We have some new SMEs coming on board. And so we're getting it ready. We're changing some of the sessions a little bit to make it a little bit more enticing and a little more interesting. And so it's going to be a great cohort. And so if you want to apply, go ahead and apply. The application is online. You have to fill out any paperwork. We do everything online. We are paperless. We're a paperless organization, okay? So fill out everything online. I'm actually working on getting us an app now, so you get all your updates and things of that nature here in the future, right from your phone. But yes, applications online, 10valleydlc.com/application to get directly to the application. But you can go to the website and you'll see it right there as well. You can call us at 256-361-9474. So that is our information. If you need anything, have any additional questions, feel free. We have a contact us on the website as well. You can fill that out if you have some additional questions or have any questions, have any different information that you want to provide. Please let us know.
I love all of this. And Deon, as I'm listening to you too, I'm thinking about all of those companies out there that have emerging leaders and people who they're looking to get connected in the community in a variety of ways, or people who are asking their own employers, how can I get involved? Are there programs that do this type of thing? And I think that this is an amazing opportunity.
Kenny, let me say this, and I forgot about this, Kenny. As of January 15th, DLC is an official 501c3 nonprofit. It was a private LLC. Yes, Kenny, I forgot to say this. It was a private LLC. And so we've done all the paperwork right after our 10th anniversary gala. And there was a lot going on in 2025 with the government, as we all know. And so the application took a little longer than anticipated. It used to take 90 days. It took about 7 months because we applied in April of 2025. But in January, we did receive our letter. So we're official 501c3 nonprofit. So you have a tax write-off. It's tax deductible now. Okay. So employers, senior employees, we can help them. We need your support. We can help them. It's tax deductible. I'm sure they would tell you they had a phenomenal experience. We've graduated over 300 alumni already. Yeah. And so we're actually getting ready to do some alumni testimonies. There's some testimonies on the website right now. And one, Kenny, if we have a few minutes, I want to share this. I want to say rest in peace to my dear friend, Miss Vanessa Weatherly.
Yes. Thank you.
And I want to mention Vanessa because Vanessa Weatherly worked at Huntsville Utilities for 41 years. She was going on year 42. She was currently the executive assistant to the CEO, Wes Kelly. Okay. Vanessa, and I quote, had gone to 2 or 3 or 4 leadership programs. Okay. She graduated from DOC in cohort 18. And she said, and I quote, Edwan, Well, she said, Dr. O'Neill, she had that little country twang. She said, Dr. O'Neill, DLC is the best program I ever did. And she said, I challenged her, Kenny, to step out of her comfort zone to be more of a leader. And she had worked at Huntsville Utilities for over 40 years, but she only went there to do her job. Yeah. She did a great job, but she never got out of her comfort zone. She was an extreme introvert, But after DLC, she was the mistress of ceremony for graduation. She started doing announcements at church. She started doing some other leadership things at Huntsville Utilities, I had found out. But Miss Vanessa would attest that DLC challenged her to get out of her comfort zone. And I just want to say, Miss Weatherly, and to the Weatherly family, we miss you. We love you. Yes. And until we meet again, Harold, we're here for you. And she's a dear alumni that has just gone too soon. But I did want to pay my respects to Miss Weatherly, who I just adore. And I had just met her, Kenny, when she came to DLC. I had just recently met her 2 years ago before she graduated. And so I did want to mention that. But if anyone who's interested, we're open. Applications are open on the website. The deadline to apply is August 10th. So you have about a month to apply. It's a simple process. You do have to have 2 letters of reference when you do apply. And it's just a general application, online application. So if you have any questions, feel free to give us a call or send us an email. And if you need to email us, it's info@tnvalleydlc.com. So that's our email address as well.
He's Dr. Edwan O'Neill. He's the owner and executive director of the Tennessee Valley Diversity Leadership Colloquium. And I tell you, Doc, every time we get a chance to chat, man, it's just, you just dropping nuggets too, man, and just creating all of this enthusiasm and excitement over the program. I hope that many people will apply. We're going to put this information on our website as well and our social media pages so that you know exactly how to get plugged into this community and this great program. Dr. O'Neill, thank you for joining me this afternoon.
Kenny, thank you so much, my brother. I really appreciate you and all that you do for our community. We love you, and we thank you, Kenny, for just giving so much back to Huntsville and our community. Thank you again.
Love you too, man. And thank you for honoring Vanessa. She's on my heart too because she was part of my training process. A phenomenal soul. She's missed. And that testimony you gave about her life and her development absolutely represents where she was in life. So thank you so much for that.
My pleasure. Thank you,
All right.
Kenny. Take care.
All right. What a powerful conversation with Dr. Edwan O'Neill this afternoon. He's the owner and executive director of the Tennessee Valley Diversity Leadership Colloquium. And of course, they've got a big cohort that's coming up here in August. We hope that you'll take advantage of that. I'm going to come back in just a moment with more of the broadcast. I'm Kenny Anderson. The broadcast is Second Chance. And I'll be back in just a moment with my next guest.
You're listening to Second Chance with Kenny Anderson.
Welcome back to the broadcast. I hope you've been enjoying the conversations that we've had thus far today. Got a little ways to go here, a couple of more great conversations, and we look forward to having them this afternoon. I'm going to go ahead and bring my next guest in right now, and I'm going to introduce him at the same time. He's Christopher Blanding, a native of Sumter, South Carolina. He's earned his undergraduate degree from North Carolina State University and a Bachelor of Arts in Education, English, African American Studies, graduating magna cum laude from Shaw University. He has an extensive resume and bio with 25 years of leadership experience. Chris is highly decorated, having been named the 2015 ASCTE State 6A Coach of the Year, as well as several other coaching accolades. He is affectionately often called Coach Chris by some, I just call him, "What's up, Chris?" And that's what I'll say this afternoon. What's going on, Chris?
Hey, man, Kenny, thank you so much for this opportunity, man. Always a pleasure to hear what you do and see you in action.
Yeah, man. Look, I'm excited because Dr. O'Neill actually called your name out, man. He invoked the name of Christopher Blanding. And I didn't say you're my next guest, but I was like, what alignment in that proclamation that he made in the previous conversation. So you're showing up at the right time in the right place. And we certainly appreciate that. Chris, you got a big event that's coming up. It's called Battle of the Badges. And we're going to talk all about that in just a few minutes. But I want to give you just a brief opportunity to kind of talk about your work in the area of coaching in this community, and then the transition that you have made in terms of where you are right now. Just give us a general, high-level summary of what's going on with you.
Well, almost 20 years ago, I came to this market and I started coaching at Chapman Middle School. Chapman had an amazing history. Ed Noter in 30 years won 19 championships, and success had gone a little bit dormant there for, 12 or 13 years. We were able to get it back on track, won 2 championships in my 7-year period there, then was blessed to move on to Columbia High School under the leadership of my principal, Greg Hicks there, won a couple of area championships. Then I kind of took a different direction, went to I'd never coached or been a part of the city. And then I went to down, which really taught me a lot of patience. And I understand that once you give up some things and you gain some things as well. So I gave up some talent, but I gained some other resources. And then I was working on a contract with Tuskegee University, and that led me to where I am now, which is at Alabama School of Cyber Technology and Engineering. I am still coaching. However, my day job is a much bigger, much heavier lift than being the director of admissions here at ASCTE.
You know, Chris, you appreciate that summary because it really covers a lot of territory and a tremendous amount of success. We know that with success comes challenges as well, so we're not suggesting anything's been easy. But here's the question I want to ask you, because oftentimes we think about coaching in, I think, kind of a unilateral way. We think about the coach teaching the kids, and the kids kind of absorb from him or her and kind of learn from the space that they're provided and what's cultivated in that space. What have you learned as a coach from working with young people?
Every day is a different day. And if you believe it's just about X's and O's, then this is not the field of work for you. Some days you have to be an uncle, a parent, a grandparent. Sometimes you just have to be a friend. It's just about how much you want to give. And kids don't care about your resume. They don't care that I played high school basketball, played college basketball. They want to know how much you care about them. Until they know that, none of your success matters. None of the stuff that you write on the board, X and O Y's matters. They really want to know that you are concerned about them right now. And then you can talk to them about what's going to happen next.
What is it like? And I had a similar conversation earlier today with a life coach who was just talking about the experience of stepping into someone's space with the incredible and extraordinary capacity to impact their life in some very powerful and meaningful way. What is it like for you, having a couple of decades now of coaching and teaching and being in higher education and other spaces? What has it been like when you've come across people that you have coached and whose life that you've touched, and they come back and they share things with you about what that experience was like for them and where they may be in life right now as a consequence of what they experienced then? What is that experience like for you?
So let me kind of go back a little bit. The reason why I am a coach is because a coach had a huge influence on my life. My high school coach, Byron Kinney, short white guy with a bald spot in his head, 5'8". But you're talking about somebody who had an influence on my life, from inviting me to his wedding and being there for his son's christening and things of that nature. And we still have conversations today. So my first thing in being a coach is I wanted to be able to give back to young people who were striving to get to another space or another level. My coaching staff right now is made up of three of my former coaches, three of my former kids who played for me at Columbia High School. So that allows me to feel some gratification and to feel good and kind of, walk around with my chest kind of poked out because here it is, three young men who I know I was hard on, three young men who I know I did not let take shortcuts, decided that they wanted to come back and not just be a coach, but work with me, influencing the next generation that has come behind them. So out of all the championships, out of all the events that I've done, out of all the counseling and coaching, to see young people come back and want to be around you because I have been doing it so long, that's a huge accomplishment. And it means more to me than any championship I've ever won.
Mm. I can't agree with you less. I mean, I as an educator myself, I tell people all the time, I am very appreciative of the professional relationships that I establish with people and, the award or plaque that I got here and there and whatever accolades may have come in that space. But it's just having the opportunity to hear that person, that young person who is now an older person, who says it was something that you said or something that you did. It was the example that you laid that made the difference. And I'm going to tell you real quick, Chris, one of the most powerful experiences I had, because this kind of transcends the academic space. I had a student come up to me in a secular environment where I was teaching one time. I'm saying secular because I'm making the distinction between where I've taught at Oakwood, but I've also taught at Calhoun. And so had a student come up to me after class and say they wanted to speak to me in my office afterwards. Of course, I had open door policy. So I said, sure, come on. Student said, would you pray with me? And I asked the student, because I had never once in class said, I'm a member of this church. I believe this. I didn't have the WWJD on my chest. There's no chip on my shoulder. There's nothing, And I said, I'll be happy to, but I have to ask you, what's the motivation in this? I'm honored to, but what's the motivation? And student looked at me and said, I've watched your example over the course of this semester, how you treated everyone with kindness and fairness. And I mean, it just blew me away because it was like the very thing that we talk about can actually be lived. And I see the same thing in terms of the capacity for a coach to have that experience or impact on a child's life so that they experience life in a certain way. That makes a profound impact. So I love what you shared and I love what you said. And I love the fact that you got this, I'm saying a unique program that's coming up. I've not seen anything like this before. Maybe there have been things that have been done in this context, but the Battle of the Badges sounds interesting. So I said, I got to have you come on and talk about this. Tell me, what is the Battle of the Badges?
Well, I'm only the source because I'm a one-man band, so that's not very difficult. But I think the irony of it, Kenny, is that you have on a championship New York Knicks shirt today, and we're talking about it. So it really birthed from the 9/11 catastrophe that we had several years ago. So Kim and I went to visit the memorial, and at that point, it was 15 years ago. And I said, man, I would love to be able to do something in honor of these persons and these first responders who took a part in cleaning up the city and things of that nature. So it's been on my things to do list for 15 years. It just wasn't the right time. Now I think it's the perfect time. First offenders, first responders always answer the call. So now it's an opportunity for us to answer the call for them, to be there in support of them, especially with so much division, not just in the city, but in the country. I think it'll be a good time for us to show our support for those young people.
I got to ask you this because, my conversations are never linear. So we're definitely going to finish it up by talking about this big event. But you had to have, as I did, a fairly surreal and reflective experience when you visited the 9/11 memorial. It absolutely blew me away. And I just wonder what your recollection is of having gone through that experience.
The funny part about that is when I think about it now, all I can say is, wow. It was so much traffic. We had to kind of be shuttled in like cattle and show all your IDs and so much movement. And I was really getting frustrated, Kenny, because it was taking so long. But when I saw the memorial, it was breathtaking. And I'm hard to please. I'm very critical about a lot of things. But when I saw that, I don't even have the words now, 15 years later, to even describe how amazing and the emotion that you feel about standing on ground zero.
It is I'm going to say, well, for me, it was a spiritual experience. I grew up in New York. I literally watched them build the World Trade Center. I rode up and down those elevators as a teenager with my friends. We were fascinated by the technology at that time. And then, of course, I witnessed 9/11 and was shaken by that day and all the many lives that were lost, the way our lives were literally changed on that day. And then going back many years later, it was a spiritual experience for me because I was so reflective. And I'm a museum guy, so I kind of take my time. I'm reading all the plaques and I'm going through each exhibit. And I'm going to tell you, the room that really probably evoked the strongest emotion was the only room that you can't take photos in. And that's the room where they have photos of all of the victims. Yeah. And I just kind of went down the different aisles and looked at each face, or as many faces as I could. And I thought about those people representing human beings with families and stories. And I mean, it was just a powerful experience. And I would encourage anyone who's listening to us this afternoon, who's not had a chance to experience the 9/11 memorial in downtown New York, to definitely put that on your calendar and on your schedule when you go visit. This was for you, again, this event, the Battle of the Bitches, was a memorial of sorts and a tribute to the lives of these first responders who acted and engaged on that day and who are still impacted to this day. The many lives that were lost after the fact because of different things that happened on that day. What did you want to bring to this community in relationship to this event? And what do you hope that people will take away from this event?
I just don't want it to be a monument. I really want it to be a movement. I want there to be some respect for those first responders. We hear about so much animosity with some citizens and police and things of that nature. They're bad people in every occupation and every way of life. And it's just to be able to shine the light and let them know that every person is not a bad person in a particular occupation. I'm an educator. That's some bad educators, Kenny. You've been doing this radio thing for a long time, and now everybody who picks up a mic and has a light wants to be a podcast person. There's some bad podcast people. There's some bad radio hosts. So I just want to let people know that everybody in that environment or in that circle is not bad. Because I really my vision is for it to grow to be a family event, more than just a basketball tournament, but an event where we can have moon bounces and food trucks. And I want to be able to give, a firefighter of the year award based on a particular precinct and police officer of the year award based on a particular precinct. So my vision has taken 8 years to get to this far, but I believe that we can go 8 more years and have an amazing community event.
Yeah, this is planting a seed of sorts, and it's actually coming up. Tell us when the date is, tell us where it's going to take place, and tell us what can people expect to experience who go and attend.
Well, you can expect, a multiplicity of things. We're going to have some food trucks there. We'll be able to give a portion of the proceeds back to the firefighters and to the policemen for their youth initiatives. It's going to be some good, clean family fun. It'll be a lot of good basketball. I'm probably most excited about some of the food trucks that are going to be there, Yum Yum and some Ethiopian food. So it'll be a festival atmosphere. It's going to be at the Morovia Community Center, which is on Allen Drake Drive. It'll be September the 4th and the 5th. And we just want everybody to come out and celebrate our first responders.
Yeah, this is another way, I think, to the point that you made earlier about how we really get to understand people's lives when we're in proximity with them and we understand them as people and understand that like you said, every occupation has its challenges and people who don't necessarily bring the best to that particular space. We can expect that everywhere we go. I personally have tremendous respect for first responders. If we went back to 9/11 again, one of the most searing images is those images, or are those images of the firemen who were climbing upstairs while people were going downstairs. I mean, that just to me said it all right there. Going into harm's way, believing that they could help in some way, not knowing that, that inevitably the towers would collapse. We'd never seen anything like that before, didn't anticipate anything like that could happen. But yet, in that moment of crisis, they were literally moving into the fire. And that's exactly what first responders do. They step into situations every day that they don't know what the outcome is going to be, but they're going in there to help. They're going in there to support. They're going in there to assist. And I remember a time growing up, you can share what it might have been like for you, Chris, but in my Lower East Side of Manhattan community, we had foot patrol officers who would come through the community and they would talk to us. And if we were shooting ball, or, we're playing wiffle ball or, softball, or stick ball, they take a little time and do that with us. The police athletic league purchased uniforms for us and organized us in our community. So there was proximity there. We got to know people and really understand people and support one another. And to the point that you're making on how that level of sensitivity and understanding is important, but also the sense of community collaboration is important as well. And I want you to talk a little bit more about that in terms of an activity like this and how it has the capacity to bring people together in the community.
The way we grow is shoulder to shoulder with other people. And a lot of times we don't have the opportunity to do that because they're always on call, so to speak. So allowing them to be there, their families to be there, for the community to see that they are real people, that they do have families too, that their concern is being able to get back home at night. And just for us to show some love to them because they are real people. And I grew up on the south side of Sumter, South Carolina, and it was an impoverished neighborhood. But I just grew up believing that they were protecting and serving. And I think if we can help the public get back to seeing that they're protecting and serving, then we may be able to come together and eliminate some of the animosity that we have.
This is a first-time event, and you've already talked a little bit about what your hope is for its future. How can people who are listening this afternoon get involved, and how can they support you in helping to fulfill this vision?
Man, the best way to do is call me 256-631-6418. Of course, there's always opportunity for sponsorships. If you want to come and set up a table, AT&T is coming out because they have some information and some products exclusively for first responders with some major discounts. So anybody who just wants to love on the first responders, they're welcome to give me a call at 256-631-6418 and just come out and show their support.
Yeah. You also mentioned the notion of being a committee of one. And I want to cover this last conversation from two sides. The first side is that being a committee of one, you can always use as much help as you can. So somebody may be out there who is just saying, man, that sounds like an awesome idea. I want to come alongside this brother and make sure that this is wildly successful. So I want you to cover that piece of it, but also want you to talk about the power of one, which I talk about a lot. There are people who sit around and think things, and there are other people who sit around and do things. And this is evidence of having a dream, a vision, where a seed has been planted that you want to now fertilize and grow in the community, and the potential that has to impact the community. So talk about both sides of that. First of all, the idea of being a committee of one and definitely welcoming support, but also the power of one and how one person with an idea and commitment and dedication can make a difference.
Yeah, and I'm a committee of one, not because I'm a selfish person, but I'm a committee of one because I wanted to kind of put my toes in the water first to make sure it could become a reality. I think the worst thing for me to have done was to get a committee of people together and we couldn't come into an agreement on what it needs to look like. So now that I have what it looks like, we even have a flyer, we have some information, we have a center to host it. Now I believe it's a little easier for people to come alongside, and people want to come alongside now because it's a train that's moving. Nobody wants to get on a train that's going nowhere. So I believe now that, especially with the help of you and your broadcast, people may see, hey, this is something that's going to be good for our public. Let's give Chris a call and see how we can help.
Yeah, and I think as we close this segment, I think that's so important to just emphasize and reemphasize that there is, to me, tremendous opportunity when we see someone step out in faith, believing that this idea that they might have can have an impact on somebody else in a positive way. And that as people begin to come around that idea, it actually strengthens the base and the foundation of that thought, that idea, that movement, and actually provides it with the support to actually begin growing and lifting up people in the community. And I would imagine that that's a big part of what you hope to see accomplished in this, that somehow this community, this great community that we live in, can be further lifted up as a consequence of that. He's Christopher Blanding, and he's making waves this afternoon. Now, real quickly, Shabach Sports Youth Programs is your initiative?
That is. We've done everything from free basketball camps. We've done men's leagues over the years. We've done church basketball leagues. We've done some mental skills. We've done, take kids to church, whatever it is, Kenny, to get me in front of young people. Because sports is really just a trick for me to have them come alongside me, for me to be able to plant some positive seeds in their lives.
Yeah. We can never have enough of that, for sure. He's Christopher Blanding, and he is actually the curator, I like to use that word, of Shabach Sports Presents, the Battle of the Badges. And I'm looking right here, Chris. This is exciting. You got Madison County Sheriff. These are commitments already made. Huntsville City Police, Madison Police Department, Huntsville Fire Department. You've got Shelby County. Oh, my goodness. You got EMS folk coming. I mean, you got all kinds of people who are out there day to day, standing on that wall on our behalf, coming together for a great cause in the community. And I applaud you for the work that you're doing in this area. Come back and talk to us. In fact, we may want to just have you come back and just reflect on the experience and maybe even have a first responder or two. I know they're shy. They don't look for, kudos and accolades and, but maybe there's a spokesperson that wants to say something and thank the community. We can certainly look at an opportunity to do that in the future. Chris, thanks for joining me this afternoon, and I look forward to our next conversation.
Thank you so much, Kenny.
All right, brother. Take care, man. Folks, it's an awesome event, and I hope that you have a chance to be a part of it. It is called, once again, Battle of the Badges Basketball Tournament, serving the community on and off the court. Fun for the entire family, and we hope that you come on out and that you're a part of this experience. I'm going to come back in just a moment with my final guest, and we'll do that in just a moment, right after we do a couple of things.
Just now, another kid dropped out of school. There's one every 20 seconds. If we do nothing, 3.5 million kids won't receive a diploma over the next 4 years. But there is someone who can change that. You. United Way knows that kids who have a caring adult in their life are more likely to make it. So make a pledge. Tutor. Mentor. Volunteer to read with children. And the difference between a dropout and a graduate could be you. Take the pledge to volunteer now at unitedway.org. Brought to you by United Way and the Ad Council.
This neighborhood sure has changed in my lifetime. You know, there was a time when people like me couldn't live here because of their race or the color of their skin. I'll never forget how I felt being told I wasn't welcome in this neighborhood, that this apartment was for whites only. That got better over time, but some people still didn't get equal treatment when it came to finding a home. Well, I own this building now. The Fair Housing Act made a difference for someone like me. It gives us the opportunity to live in communities of our choice, free from discrimination. The Fair Housing Act makes it illegal to discriminate in the renting or selling of a home because of race, color, religion, sex, national origin, familial status, or disability.
If you believe you have experienced housing discrimination, contact HUD at 1-800-669-9777 or go to www.hud.gov/fairhousing.
You're listening to Second Chance with Kenny Anderson.
Welcome back to the broadcast. I hope that you enjoyed my conversation with Chris Blanding this afternoon, sharing great information about the Battle of the Badges. And of course, we have an opportunity to share that type of information because we want you to get plugged into this community in a way that can be valuable and beneficial to you. We, of course, look forward to these kinds of opportunities to share valuable, important information that we think can make a difference and an impact in your life. My final guest today is up and ready, and I know that because I usually am having such a good time having these conversations that I hate to see it come to an end, but all good things must come to an end. But not before we have another amazing conversation with Dr. Anthony Chornes. He, of course, has been on our broadcast before, and we're always delighted when he has an opportunity to come because he always brings valuable and great information with him. And today's not going to be any different because he's landed on a topic that I think is going to be extremely important for us. Dr. Chornes is a doctor of neuropathy and original medicine, board certified drugless practitioner, health and wellness coach, consultant, certified mindset life coach, personal wellness development speaker, and so much more. He joins me this afternoon to talk about a very important topic, the hidden roots of heart disease and high blood pressure, why most people treat the symptoms but miss the cause. Dr. Chornes, how are you doing this afternoon?
I'm doing wonderful this afternoon. It's a pleasure to be here.
It is always a pleasure to have you because you've helped us navigate through some challenging times in life. I know you've been on during the pandemic and kind of talked a little bit about how we might approach the pandemic in terms of our health and mindfulness. You've also shared contextual things about plant-based diets and food and nutrition and things of that nature that can help us navigate the journey of life because we really are what we eat. And if we don't take care of this temple, it's absolutely going to deteriorate. And so that's why I'm glad to see you here. I love the setup over there, man. You got a little podcast action going on back there.
I got a little something. I'm trying to be like you. Trying to be like my big brother.
Man, look, I love it, man. Look, big brother being inspired in a moment, so that's all right. Man, that looks good. I'm glad to see that, and I'm glad to see you, and I'm glad to talk about this. You know, when you told me that this was a topic that you might be interested in sharing with our audience, I have to tell you, I got very excited because I'm of a mindset now that I'm as passionately and committed and dedicated to my health as any other thing in life.
That is great.
The choices I make about my life impact me. And it's not just the choices I make about, where I go and what I choose to do to entertain myself or, decisions people make about school and church and jobs. And it's the health elements of our life that are so important. And so to talk about the hidden roots of heart disease and high blood pressure, and to talk about why people tend to treat the symptoms and miss the true cause is so important to me. So let's dive right in with the last part of that and see if we can answer that question. Why do people find it easier to focus on the symptoms rather than the cause?
A lot of that is education. That's how we've been trained. We've been trained to ignore what the cause is and have a solution in something simple as taking a medication. So what it does to the mind, it doesn't allow a person to explore what are the causative effects when we have been conditioned to have a medicinal intervention to address that problem. Now, to be very clear, that's not only in the conventional medicine space, Kenny, it's also in the supplement and herbal space. I have received hundreds of calls. Doc, what can I take for this? What can I take for that? And the real question should be, what is the cause? How did I get here? You know, how was this developed? And most people don't ask themselves that question. And here's why, Kenny, because they're afraid of what they will find. So 90% of the cause is here. 90% of why we are dealing with a condition that is the number one killer in the U.S. and the world, heart disease. While we're dealing with a condition that over 70,000 people are walking around the United States today with some form of heart disease. While we're dealing with a condition where some 94,000 people are going, 940,000 people. You hear me? 940,000 people are going to die here because of something that is easily preventable, but can never be addressed if we only look at solutions that do not address the cause.
You know, I really get excited when we have this type of a conversation, because for me, this conversation provides relevance and meaning in terms of the most direct route to resolving whatever the issue is that one might have.
Correct.
And so let's talk a little bit about a couple of words that I hear a lot now. And it's funny because I just didn't hear these words when I was growing up, even though a lot of people around me were talking about health. The issue of inflammation in our bodies and the impact of that inflammation.
Wow.
And then oxidative stress.
Wow. You know what? That question is almost like you jumped in my mind, Kenny. It's like you a mind reader. Woo! Because yes, these are some direct root causative factors. So you mentioned metabolic stress. Most individuals think about metabolism. The first thing that they come to their mind is weight, weight loss and how your body is metabolizing fat, etc. They don't realize that your metabolic function of your body is managing blood sugar, is managing your inflammatory markers. So if we are creating an environment which is referred to as metabolic stress, that means our blood sugars are not being managed properly. They're out of whack. They are elevated, etc. And then it also means that inflammation is going to be elevated. Now, both of those things are the major contributing factors to heart disease and even high blood pressure, because when we have this metabolic stress, when we are consuming, let's look at how this is created. When we're consuming too many or too much carbohydrates and are consuming them the wrong way. So it's not just that we're consuming them, it's how we consume them. And when I mean how, let me just say this part so I won't forget it. When I say how we consume them, that even means the style in which we consume them. And specifically, if I'm consuming a meal, my plate has protein, it has fat, it has carbs. I should initiate that meal with my protein, my fat, and lastly, my carbs. Now, what the protein and fat will do, it would act as a buffer it would act as a regulator for my blood sugar. If I start with my carbs first, then I'm issuing glucose into my bloodstream first. And the continual elevation or mismanagement and regulation of blood sugar, it facilitates metabolic stress. And then also, because of the excess carbs, Kenny, what happens is now anything that's in excess, even though it is good, becomes a toxin. All right. So now we have toxicity. We have an environment that's toxic. Now we have too much glucose. We have too much insulin. And then we have what is called receptor downregulation, meaning that because of this excess insulin, excess carbohydrate, now the cell is acting like the homeboys in the inner city when the guns are firing, everyone's ducking. So now insulin, which is the key, has a difficult time unlocking the cell so insulin can come in. So now we have this toxic environment that damages cells. And now we have an inflamed environment that's also damaging cells. So the toxicity based on excess insulin, excess glucose is damaging the cardiovascular system. And secondary to that, the inflammation is damaging the cardiovascular system.
Is there such a thing as a point of no return when it comes to some of these health challenges that we face? In other words, is there this point, and I'm not talking about the miraculous healing power of God. We know that that's always available, and he can choose to heal as he chooses to heal, because we've seen it happen. We've seen stage 4 cancer reversed and all of that other stuff.
Right.
But is there kind of like a point of no return where somebody has failed to respond to the messages about eating right, living right in terms of exercising and keeping the toxins away from our lives, whether that comes through the atmosphere, whether that comes through other people around us? Is there such a thing as a point of no return that you think about?
Well, for me, responding to that question, majority of the people that I work with are in spaces where they think it's the point of no return. So I'm used to dealing with people who have been in situations that their condition has been chronic for years. And here's the amazing thing, that what happens in their experience and what happens chemically and biologically, as soon as they start making these lifestyle changes correctly, for example, implementing living foods, implementing fresh juices that are specific for the cardiovascular system, implementing various plant-based supplements that are specifically ministering to the cardiovascular system, various plant herbs that are specific for the cardiovascular system, exercise, and those types of things. What happens is immediately they have dynamic benefits because the reversal begins to take place. That cellular genesis begins to take place. So we have two things that are happening even right now where we're talking to one another, Kenny. It is apoptosis, which is cell death. And then we have cellular genesis, which is the creation of new cells. When individuals begin to incorporate lifestyle and movement and implementing these living substances into their body, now we have the birth of new cells, which make up the cardiovascular system, specifically, since that's what we're talking about. And every organ and system in our bodies has a recreation time period. For example, every 4 weeks, we have a new different layer of skin on a cellular level. Every 6 weeks, there's a new liver. Cardiovascular system, every 8 weeks. So every 8 weeks that a person is implementing positive lifestyle changes, the cardiovascular system is regenerating every 8 weeks. That's powerful.
That's extremely powerful. And it's also hopeful because
that is very hopeful. Yes.
Yeah. I mean, somebody that interprets where they are based on the symptoms that they may be dealing with, the chronic nature of their condition, may have written themselves off. But in reality, you're saying that there's an immediate reaction when somebody reverses that and then starts introducing the body to things that are much more life-sustaining, which is what you want to do.
And here's why. The body has a self-healing program. So it is constantly trying and seeking to regain health. Now, the only problem is that process has to be supported. Now, you made a statement in the beginning of the broadcast. You said we are what we eat. Now, I'm going to rephrase that. We are what we assimilate. So if we are not good stewards of our digestion, what we eat, when we eat, etc., that's going to interfere with our body's ability to absorb the nutrients and the life-giving properties that build health. So I could be eating well, meaning I'm eating, good, even healthy things. But if I'm eating wrong, I'm not getting the full investment. It's just like making a bad investment. You have the money, you make the investment, but you made a bad investment. So you're not going to get the return. So when we know how to make the right investments with the foods that we have, how to style it in such a way that it builds health, we get maximum returns on our investment. And here's the problem. And this is why these conversations, Kenny, are so important. Most people do not know how to do this. And the data shows this. Epidemiologists, those who study why we get sick, and since our conversation is about heart disease and high blood pressure, what they have discovered is that only less than 3% of people practice healthy lifestyles. And why? Because they don't know how. They don't know what to do, really. They just do what they have been taught from generation and, grandma and grandpa and friends and families and coworkers. So it takes conversations like this and individuals like myself to do more education than medication.
Yeah, boy, that's powerful right there. Because we are a product of our generational lineage and the customs and practices that were part of their lives are passed down onto us. And then we're exposed to those things. And then we, of course, hopefully, as you said earlier, there's an educational cycle that can disrupt the bad education and misinformation and move people in a positive way. With the last few minutes we have left, I thought we'd give people an elevated sense of hope. And since we've talked a little bit about heart disease and high blood pressure today, can you give us maybe 2 to 3 best practices for both of those areas that people can maybe zero in on or consider as part of their reevaluation of their life journey?
Great question. One thing is something as simple as improving the amount of living foods that you placed in your diet. Most of the chronic diseases that individuals face is because of too much cooked food. Now, those living foods have the chemical properties that help to support the cardiovascular system. So here's something that individuals can do. If they could at least make half of their plate fresh, raw veggies, specifically like spring mixed lettuce. So I'm going to give them, put living food, spring mixed lettuce on your plate. And also, if they would do a green drink challenge. And what that is just taking several handfuls of spring mixed lettuce, the one that has the spinach and the lettuce mixed together with it, put that in your blender, add 16, 24, 32 ounces of water, blend that up, strain it and drink it. So what the eating of those green leafy vegetables and the juicing of those green leafy vegetables will do, it will put a concentration of what is called nitric oxide into your bloodstream. It would also saturate your bloodstream with what is called salicylate acid. Salicylate acid is where we get aspirin from. So you're getting a natural aspirin, which acts as a blood thinner and a clot preventing properties. Then you get the nitric oxide, which is essential for cardiovascular health. So nitric oxide causes our blood vessels to dilate. You've heard of Viagra. That is a man-made version of nitric oxide. So when we place the green leafy vegetables in a food source and a blended drink source, that alone will radically improve cardiovascular health. That one thing right there. I would also add to that movement. Movement. Start moving and start walking, even if it's not outside, even if it's walking around the house, even if it's walking in your job. Start moving and set a specific goal, a time. I'm going to walk 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 15 minutes, and start increasing the amount of time that you move. Movement is critical. And then also, I would also say, in conjunction with that, is that get your rest. Rest, lack of rest increases cardiovascular health issues. So rest is critical, especially we talked about the inflammation, etc. We have to make sure that we get our rest. So our food, or that green drink challenge, 7 days, movement and rest are critical, Kenny, critical to that.
Rest is not overrated. The person that wants to hold on to their youth and think about how they used to resist getting that rest at night and think they can go all night doing something. No. Rest has never been overrated, but especially so now. We need to create that, to have that kind of restorative capacity in our lives, and to have the kind of balance that we need going forward in our lives. So I appreciate you sharing that as well. And any one of those three, it's funny because a person could just pick one.
Yes.
And begin moving in a direction that is much better than they may be in right now. So
right.
I think you said quite a bit for people to think about and embrace right now. You, of course, provide services for people. And your service is a service. It's a life-giving service of hope that
Correct.
People who want to either restore, regain, or maintain a certain experience in their health. You provide that for them. Tell people where they can connect with you, website, social media handles, or anything else you got out there that people can move to right now as we conclude our conversation.
All of my social media is Dr. Chornes, DrChornes. And they can also go to our website, Dr. Chornes, DrChornes.com. And they can also reach us at our office number, which is area code 256-715-7947.
This has been a great conversation and a great way to end this segment of the Second Chance radio broadcast. Dr. Anthony Chornes is available to provide life-sustaining counseling, services, support, and so much more. And I'm always honored when he comes on this platform because, as I said, this is like numero uno in my life. It's the prime time in my life to stay alive and stay healthy while I'm alive. So thank you for joining us. I look forward to future conversations.
Looking forward to it. Take care, my friend.
Take care, man. Great conversations today, folks, and a great way to end that conversation. Again, Dr. Anthony Chornes joining me this afternoon. He is a multifaceted doctor of neuropathy and original medicine and so much more, and doing some great work on the ground in terms of just helping people steer their lives in the right direction. Coach Christopher Blanding joining me this afternoon to talk about the Battle of the Badges and a big event that's coming up here in September. I believe he said the 4th and the 5th of September. And then also my friend, Dr. Edwan O'Neill, owner and executive director of the Tennessee Valley Diversity Leadership Colloquium, a new cohort starting the 3rd week of August. We hope that you'll take advantage of that. And then, of course, my good friend Deon Stokes, CEO of Joint Effort Consulting and the curator of the Ambition brand and the Ambition Project. just glad to have her on this afternoon and be able to share the great information that she was able to share with us. On next Sunday, we've got another big show. I'll be talking with my good friend Vince Roundtree of the Red Line Challenge. You may know that Vince and I have been talking and sharing about health initiatives that he's got going on that can help you lose pounds within just a few days. He's got a great ministry program, life coaching, consulting business. We'll hear from him. He's based in Atlanta. Habitat for Humanity, the River Valley, will be on to discuss something. The All Aboard, the nonprofit Power Up series, with Tanisha Thomas, will be on its halftime, the mid-year check-in every organization should be doing right now. And Vicki Morris will be on with BYOB, Be Your Own Boss. Vicki is communication strategist, founder of Valere Consulting. That all happens on next Sunday. If you've been missing it, my What's Going On social and political roundtable discussion will resume on August the 2nd with a great combination of commentators that will include David Person, Dr. Leon Seard, and Dr. Keith Burton, I believe, will be with me at that time. I want to double check that real quick to make sure. Yeah, I think it is Dr. Keith Burton. All right. In the meantime, we look forward to talking to you again on next Sunday. I hope that you have a great rest of the week. Remember, as always, knowledge is better than riches. Have a great afternoon, and we will talk again soon. Have a great day.
Thank you for tuning in to Second Chance. We hope that the information that was shared has been a blessing to you and that your life will be enriched as a result of it. We'd love to hear from you. So please send your email comments to Kenneth Anderson at mxlife@aol.com. That's mxlife@aol.com. And check out our Facebook page, 2ND Chance. That's 2ND Chance. In the meantime, have a great week, and we'll talk to you again next week. Good day.